Okay. Well, hi folks, Brad here. In this video, I'm actually going to do the Brian Wampler volume master switch for your Hot Rod Deluxe amps. I've got one that's fantastic, but it's way too loud for my house. So I was looking for an option to do this, or to fix this, and attenuators, all the rest of that. Seems like spending a lot of money just to do something that's pretty simple. So I'm going to do this the way Brian Wampler does from Wampler Pedals. So please, give him the kudos, but I'm going to lay it out and try it myself, and I'll let you know how it works. Quick note though, this requires that you have a processor or effects loop on your amp, which of course the Hot Rod does. So it's a good way to get that thing to crunch without blowing your ears up in your house. So stay tuned, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so what I've set up here is I went and ordered on eBay or whatever, just a pedal blank. It's aluminum, I think. Oops, made in China. Who knows? It's not warm, so it's not made out of uranium, so who cares? So really all you need is one pot. Brian says 100K pot. I actually inadvertently grabbed a 500K pot, so I might actually fix that. I'm going to wire it up and give it a test. And then just two mono plugs that you'd expect here. So pretty basic, right? So what I'm doing here, and I laid it out because I'm an idiot. So again, following Brian's input, for those of you who know, I only learned this just a few minutes ago. This tang on here that's connected to that ring in the center, that's the ground. And then of course, this is the one that's connected to the plug. So your input output on that one. I'm going to lay it back there. And so I have the same one over here, same deal, right? So, and then just your standard pot with three tangs off of it, or whatever you want to call it. So very simply, the left one on here, right there, if we can see, is the ground. And that one can go to the ground, frankly, on either of these, but because it's on the left side, I'm going to put it on the out, which is just how I have this labeled. Oops, sorry there. So that one's going to go from ground to the ground lug, which again is this one, not this one, because this is the one that's connected to the ring there. So that's pretty easy. The middle one here is going to go, that's a signal, so that's going to go into the either the input or output. In this case, it's the output signal, so not the ground. I've even labeled it a little bit there. That kind of says ground. This has a plus on it, even though it's actually the output. It doesn't really matter. But that's where the middle one goes. So again, just to reiterate, the middle tang here is going to be wired to the positive, or the non-ground tang on that plug. And then the final one, which is very simple, is the right one is going to go into the input signal lug, which again is, where are we here? It's not the one that's connected to the ring. It's this one here. So that's how it's going to be wired up. Brian did mention that if you wanted to, you could ground across both of the ground pins on here too, but because this thing is metal, it's going to be grounded pretty well. So I have to go and get myself a drill bit that will actually cut through this stuff, and I'll later on in this video, I'll actually make sure that you folks know what I use so that these things fit properly, or not, as the case may be. So we'll stay tuned and we'll find that out. Thanks. Okay, here we have it. I'm sure I won't win any points for elegance in here, but the pot's in, the wires are in, the jacks are in, and if you see, none are hanging down below this, so I can pretty confidently screw the bottom plate on, and it should work. So enough of me talking. Let's plug this damn thing in and see if it works. Thanks for sticking around, folks. Okay folks, so here's the thing all wired up and plugged in. I actually should have done these on the either side because the preamp out and the power amp in are actually left and right, and I had the in and out. Now I just did it kind of like traditionally like you would at a pedal, but that's not what this thing is. So anyway, it looks a little awkward. I've just got it kind of the tension in the cables holding against the wall so I can see. And just so we all know, in fact I put them all at noon here. Some of these don't matter, but I'll take the reverb out. But all of these chicken heads are pointing pretty close to straight up. You all know, you folks would know, with this Fender Deluxe that I have here, that would be really loud. So again, the whole point of this is that this knob here will act like a master volume. Again, it's a 100 pot switch, or 100K pot rather than a 500, which I'd had originally, which was a bit of a mistake. So let me just turn this thing on. Okay, those are on, that's cool. Guitars right here. Even, now you hear just faint. Now I'm no virtuoso, so here, again, so let's give it a little bit. It still has that hump. If you're familiar with these guitars, or sorry, these amps, you know that kind of going from 0 to 1, gives you a pretty big step up. That still happens here, but here, let's just, there, it comes on, but then, there, that's full. That would be ridiculous. So I'll turn it back down to so off, and then, you know, it gives you a nice sound. What you can do is you can get a little overdrive out of this thing by cranking the volume and then turning the master down again. This will be quite noticed. See, you can even hear it there. There. It's falling. Good video, Brad. Hey. So that's just so you can see this for sure. Again, I've got that volume pretty low, but look where I've got the master volume in this thing. This should be shaking the house to pieces if that's where it was. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, to be honest. I've been looking for a way to fix this problem for a while without spending hardly any money. So realistically, wherever you can get a 100K pot and a couple of jacks, the pedal box itself came from China. I hope it's aluminum. It could be something worse. And that was about $6 delivered from China. So I got an old telly knob that I like, so I put that on. This is actually pretty inexpensive, and it's a darn sight better than trying to sell this thing and buy a Blues Junior, because that would cost me too much money. So anyway, the only other mod I'm going to do, I'm thinking of anyway, is Philip McKnight. I think that's the guy's name. He pulled out the preamp 12AX7, is that right? I can't remember, and replaced it with a different one. I'll go back and check out that video and do the same thing. So that gets rid of, what that did on his video is it got rid of that kind of that big 0 to 1 step. It really smoothed that out. So I'm going to try that too, and then I'll report back, folks. So anyway, again, if you have a Fender Deluxe like this, don't take my word for it. You can go to Brian Wampler's video on the same topic. I'll link it below. It's a great video. He showed me how to do this. I wanted to try it in the real world. I'm just a guy that likes to play guitar, and I play it poorly, so who cares? I got nothing to gain by doing this. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope it's been valuable to you, and hey, we'll look for more videos in the future. And this is